Hello, welcome to Her Wild Side Hockey Podcast. I am your hostess, Mickey, and as you can see, this is not a typical episode. I'm going to tell you right now that there is going to be swearing in this podcast. There is going to be talk about rape culture and sexual assault. Um, and so I completely understand if that is not okay with you, something you don't want to listen to, but it is an important issue in professional hockey. Um, so if you can, I'd love you to stick around and listen to what I have to say. Um, because, like I said, as you can see, I don't even have the green screen up. I literally was just like, I kicked my husband out of his office and I was like, I need to record something right now. Because, okay, well, we'll get into. I'm trying to just organize all my thoughts because here's like, usually I have a whole page. You can't see what I've written, but it's butterfly shape. Usually I have a whole page of notes about different things I want to talk about. Today I literally have a sticky note shaped like a butterfly. And it's got like 5 things on it. And I'll actually say that kind of this whole thing, oddly enough, started off somewhat outside of the NHL space, where I decided to. Sometimes I like to take on the trolls just because I think it's funny. I decided to wade into the argument about trans athletes, and specifically in hockey, which is funny because there have been trans athletes in previous iterations of women's professional hockey, and it was never a big deal. But anyway, so I was already kind of in my ranty stage because I was going up against TERFs, trans exclusive radical feminists, who are not correct. They're not right. They do not have good talking points. They do not know what they're talking about, and they will not argue in good faith. So I was having a little fun with that. Okay, let's just say that's where this all started. Now, like I said, if you don't want to listen to this, that's fine. I am going to put on our quick ESPN Plus commercial. That gives you a chance to kind of decide if you want to shut it off or if you want to stick around and listen to a discussion of something very important that we need to figure out what to do about. So, stick around or, in the next minute you can decide.
Thank you for watching the show. If you enjoy our podcast and want to support the show, consider signing up for ESPN Plus via our link at insidetherink.com/ESPN or scan the QR code on your screen now. I have ESPN Plus and I personally love all the college sports, UFC, MLB, and NHL games all across ESPN platforms. Over 1,000 out-of-market NHL games are on ESPN Plus every year. Make sure you hit the QR code or go to insidetherink.com/ESPN to make sure you don't miss out on any of this year's NHL action. And if that wasn't enough for you, ESPN Plus is currently offering a bundle of ESPN Plus, Disney Plus, and Hulu for $14.99 a month. You get sports, the kids get Disney, and Hulu is the added bonus. It's the perfect bundle. I personally have it, and I don't know what you would do without it.
Okay, welcome back. Let me make very clear that these are my viewpoints. Okay? Yes, I'm affiliated with other things, the podcast network. These are my ideas and my things that I have to say, my viewpoints. Hockey culture. Now, when I think of a culture, I like to think of the positive aspects. Now, obviously, I'm thinking more about um, uh, countries or ethnicities and maybe art that surrounds it, or food, or customs. And I hate that it is kind of co opted in the hockey world to mean rich white boys can do whatever they want, specifically sexual assault. Because that's kind of what it's used for. It's always, oh, well, it's just hockey culture. Hockey culture right now equals rape culture. And I don't know why people are okay with that. Not only okay with that, but like unwilling to try to change it and unwilling to admit if they make a mistake. Here's the thing. We all kind of grow up, remember when you were back in middle school or high school and even in college. I think about jokes that I made, um, or jokes that I laughed at, things that I thought were funny. And I cringe now as an adult because I have done the work to realize that it wasn't funny. And while I can cringe all I want, I didn't know, but then I learned, so I do better. Now that's what we need to do here in the hockey culture at large, not just the NHL. Unfortunately, the NHL is just where it has the biggest platform, and so therefore is spread the most. What we need to do, I get it. Yep, here that was part of the culture, but we need to learn more and do better. So if you are not on social media, you're going to be like, "Wow, what is happening? Where did this come from? Like, did Nikki go cuckoo?" Um, I'm always cuckoo, just so you know. I'm gonna I'm reluctant to describe what the picture actually was, but let's just say that it was about two teams that are playing in the playoffs against each other. Someone someone had to sit and feed this all into an AI machine to make this picture. And this was a very specific picture. It was two bears, a Bruins bear, and then a Maple Leafs bear, who, I may add, was wearing a dress and kind of high heels. So was made to be feminine. And the feminine bear was being violated by the Bruins bear. And the one being violated was crying. And people have thought this is funny. And they have shared it. And the worst part is when people came in and said, "Hey, hold on, this is not funny. This is not a joke. You should not." No, there are other ways to express the playoffs and how the Bruins and the Leafs are doing versus each other. There are many other jokes that would be much funnier if someone put the time and the effort into it, as they did with this picture. And instead of learning from it, they double down. I don't see anything wrong with it. It's lowbrow humor. Except it is not. You know what? Lowbrow humor? Okay. You know what? Go on with a poop joke or something. That's lowbrow humor. A fart joke. That's lowbrow humor. A rape joke? That's just fucking disgusting. I don't see anything wrong with it. You know what? Here's the thing. You might not. You might think it is so funny. I guarantee that you have women in your life who have been sexually assaulted or raped. And they see you thinking it's funny. And you'll say, "Well, I don't know anyone like that." Can I tell you how many women this has happened to that do not share it with people or share it with very few people because there is such a stigma around it? If they see you laughing at it, do you think they're going to share with you, "Hey, by the way, one time I was raped"? No. If you think it's funny, you are now not a safe person to share things like that with. And you should feel ashamed of that. Here's the thing, instead of sitting here and getting confrontational, because people are going to listen to this, watch this, they already have on social media, and they're going to get confrontational. They're going to get angry. And I get it. Everyone wants to save face, right? The correct thing for you to do is to stop and look inward at yourself and do a little bit of work about why you would think this is funny. Now, this instance, it was not made by the person who shared it with the highest reach. I'm trying not to use names here. I don't want to use names here. But the person who used it is a very high level professional, which I would say is debatable, uh, hockey personality with a very, very large platform on social media. And as far as I have seen, after sharing this with the uproar, has done absolutely nothing to even address it. They posted it and they just went right on by. They don't even care. And that's, again, disgusting. If you have one of the biggest platforms, not only for adults, but also children, young, young hockey players listen and watch this media, and they're going to think this is okay. And this plays into the whole culture at large because when it is made into a joke and it seems to be an okay thing to joke about, that's just what they're going to know. They're going to see someone that they idolize, that they think is cool, that they follow, they like, they think is funny, and then, oh, well, they think rape is okay to joke about. So it's no problem if I do. And guess what? When rape is made into a joke, then it has this level, this foundation of rape is okay. And people are right away, no, that's not what it means. That is not. Yes, when you make something into a joke, that means that it is not a serious topic anymore to you. And that means that you are okay ignoring it. Therefore, making it okay for specifically hockey players, because again, usually they're going to be higher class, middle class white men who already have privilege, and they are going to just think it's okay. Look at the different world junior teams. Look at the hazing on different teams, all the way down to like high school teams. It's not okay. None of it is okay. And we need to call it out. Now, unfortunately, people that do try to call it out, such as me, many of my friends on social media, we are simply slapped down in the worst ways. I mean, always people that just, they do not give a shit. And they are simply there to troll. And guess, like I said earlier, you know what? I will troll a bigot all day, every day. If you are a hateful person, I'm okay making jokes to you. This is different. This is making victims into the joke. People who did not welcome this into their life. It was not a decision they made to get raped or to be sexually assaulted. And you're making them into a joke. Now, this was already bad enough, right? Uproar, people going crazy, disgusting trolls just there to try and needle people who are already taking a stand. And then last night, the Tampa Bay Lightning lost their series. They're out of the playoffs. They're done with the season. And the coach, in the final, like his interview afterwards, it was, I don't even know how to describe this. He's talking about there were 2, 3 different goal calls that were called back, goalie interference. I don't know. Like it was if you didn't watch, it was a whole thing. Anyway, and he was making very good points. They would ask him about that. He was making points about what he thought about the goalie interference, having goals called back, especially in such a game that was so close and had such ramifications. But then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, basically, he says, might as well put skirts on them, as in the goalies. What the fuck does that even mean? The only reason this was funny was that somehow they were women? Like, I don't understand. It literally made no sense. It felt like one of those, sometimes you'll see where like in training camp, You'll see someone be like, "I dare you to see how many times you can say hot dog during your press conference," and then it is funny and, they'll like throw in the word hot dog and you're thinking, "Oh, that's kind of weird." And then you see later that that was like a challenge and you're like, "Okay, that makes more sense." It felt like someone before the press conference pulled him aside and was like, "I want you to make a sexist joke and toss it in there. Let's see if you can do it." And he did. And it didn't even make sense. It didn't even make sense. I'm so tired. I'm so tired. And I hate that, first of all, no one even followed up on him. No one was like, skirts on your goalies? Like, can you clarify what you mean by that? And no one is going to say anything. No one from the high level media will call them out. You know who calls them out? People like me with small platforms. Small. I know. I don't have a ton of followers. I don't have a ton of listeners. That's okay with me. I like what I do. But the fact remains that it is people like me, um, small podcasts, small personalities, people who write for smaller websites, we're the ones calling them out because we're willing to put it on the line. And in a way, I understand why someone with a larger platform, someone with a high paying media job, I get why they would be hesitant. But again, we all see you. We see the ones who say something and we see the ones who don't. We see the ones who ignore it. And we remember. I earlier in the season I talked about the LGBTQ plus community within hockey and how I'm always wanting to support them. And I think I want to just extend and like broaden that because I've talked about I'm a hockey mom. My kid is only 6. He's been in mini mites for 2 years. There isn't much I can do at this level yet. But I want to be a presence in his hockey life to call out bullshit. That includes not only, using a slur, that includes inappropriate jokes like rape or sexual assault. People need to call it out. And unfortunately, even when it is called out, that does not mean that the person will face consequences. And it's hard because many of us, we remember the players who were on the World Juniors team, even if they weren't part of the 5 who were like the big, like the bad actors. From what everything has said, everybody on the team knew. That means that anybody that played on that team knew what happened and did jack shit about it. They did not care that this young woman's life was ruined. I don't care if they didn't laugh at it. I don't care if they didn't respond to the message. They read it and they moved on with their lives. And that's disgusting. I think I'm coming to the end of my rant. I'm tired. And aren't we all? Um, but if you're listening, watching, whatever, keep calling it out. The more people that call it out, despite backlash, despite what other people say or think, that is what is going to prompt change. More and more people will be willing to stand up and say that things are not funny, say that they don't like it. And if we get started, it's the ripple effect. And it will ripple out, hopefully, into hockey culture as a whole, because that's where it's needed. Okay, this is enough of a rant. I am just, quick gonna throw my little Ticketmaster thing up, and people are like, "Oh, well, you just went on a rant. Now you want us to pay." You know what? Shut up. That's all I have to say. The affiliate code is in the show notes. Otherwise, it is up on this QR code is up on the screen here in the video. And you know what? I'm just asking for support because that helps pay our bills. It helps pay for how we record the show and where we host it and all of that stuff. So, anyway, there that is. If you have any questions or whatever, ask me. If you want to talk in good faith, I will. It's just the trolls that are hard because it's like they're not there in good faith. So, until next time, I hope everyone is otherwise enjoying the playoffs. And next time we talk, it'll be a little bit less ranty. So, everyone have a good day.